At the end of every unit, the teacher has the chance to teach a lesson about other lessons and their context to enhance. But what do you suppose our teacher has us do? He skips the lesson and makes us present a digital LEQ. Elocution needs historical evidence, reasoning that can corroborate and advance. A complex thesis that Dr. John P. Irish would admire, then we drop the screencast like a signal that is fired. Student created screencasts for you to like, subscribe, and share. We know you have had all the John Green and Steve Humler you can bear. If we have the most views by 10 p.m. Eastern on the fifth day, we earn 500 points, bonus points, which virtually guarantees an A. Without much more fanfare or ado, we present our digital LEQ.
World War One and World War Two comparisons by Chima, Jalen, and Ryan. Big ideas. What leading factors led to the cause of both World War One and World War Two? What similar consequences did World War One and World War Two share? How did nationalism and imperialism influence both wars? What major difference distinguished World War One from World War Two? Thesis. World War One and World War Two were two separate wars with many differences and similarities in the causes and consequences of both wars. Though these wars have their differences in causes and consequences, the similarities of both World War One and World War Two outweigh these differences. Both wars were caused by the heavy influence of ideologies such as nationalism, militarism, and imperialism, and both were caused by alliances as well. They had similar consequences such as large amount of casualties, the fall of some European powers, and they both led to the reconstruction of political order in Europe and in other parts of the world. Therefore, World War One and World War Two share more similarities than differences. Contextualization. Imperialism and nationalism worked hand in hand in the conflicts that started World War One and Two. Imperialism is the one to expand and conquer land for the nation. Nationalism is extreme love and loyalty to a nation's culture and values, so much that you reject other nations' own. The Central Powers in World War One and Two fought for more control over countries. In World War One, Austro-Hungarian Archduke Ferdinand was assassinated because a Serbian nationalist who was protesting against their control over Bosnia Herzegovina. The tensions and the strong senses of nationalism of the countries erupted, and the war began. In World War II, Nazi Germany was trying to imperialize the European countries, while Japan wanted to imperialize Asia, and Italy wanted to take over North Africa. And this is a map. Militarism and alliances. Militarism is also the cause of both World War One and Two. Militarism is the idea that a country needs a strong military to support the nation and adhere to the country's needs. The European powers, America and Japan, built up a strong military and wanted to put them into action. Alliances were also the cause of both World War One and Two. Countries made secret alliances with other nations to protect for protection and unity. When the wars began, the alliances of both sides attacked each other, giving the side more strength. Similarities. Causes of war, militarism, nationalism, imperialism, alliances, same goals, and the countries involved, and large numbers of casualties lost during both wars. Differences. How it started. World War II had a lot more deaths, 60 million compared to 17 million. And World War II had a mass genocide in the form of the Holocaust, while the World War One did not have any.
Primary source number two: nationalism and imperialism. The image shows Great Britain and their colonies, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, India, and South Africa, as dogs. As Great Britain is the largest dog, and they're all on top of the Britain flag. It says, "Are we afraid?" and answers with no. This type of nationalism carried over to World War II as well. The drawing shows nationalism by encouraging the British citizens and military to continue fighting. It shows imperialism as the drawing shows the lands Britain has taken over. This is related to cultural developments and interactions of theme 2. Situation. The propaganda drawing was made during World War One as Britain was fighting against Central Powers. The wars raged on for 4 years, and these types of drawings were used to encourage and ensure the citizens that they should continue the war. The artist made this drawing to increase Britain's morale in World War One. Primary source number 3: Militarism. This is a quote Einstein from the Einstein letter he sent to um, President Roosevelt. As wars went on, more and more weapons were made and advanced. On these weapons, the atomic bomb was and still is one of the most dangerous weapons created. Militarism and the conflicts at the time are the main reason for the construction of powerful and dangerous weapons in both World War One and in World War Two. The theme represented is theme 6: technology and innovation. Situation. As World War Two continued, the two sides of the war, the Axis and the Allied powers, were racing to make nuclear weapons to give them an edge in the war. The letter was made to give information to Roosevelt on the creation of the atomic bomb and the materials needed. The letter is in the point of view of Albert Einstein, who was a German scientist who escaped from Germany to the US to assist them with the building of the atomic bomb. Secondary source: alliances. The alliance system caused the World War One to escalate from a regional conflict into a global war. Two major alliances existed in Europe prior to World War One. The Triple Alliance included Germany, Austria, Hungary, Austria, Hungary, and Italy, while the Triple Entente included the Soviet Union, Britain, and France. The conflict then spread across the globe as a complex web of alliances forced more countries into the conflict. World War II also dealt with conflict between alliances as well. This relates to theme 3 of governance. And secondary source number 2: casualties. A lot of casualties died during the World War One and World War Two. World War Two had the most casualties that died, estimating around 5 to 8 million, including many civilians, and deaths caused by diseases and famine. The harsh conditions and attacks of both World War One and World War Two led to an astounding number of military deaths, civilians deaths, and other casualties. Both wars led to substantial declines in countries' populations, showing that both wars had similar consequences. This relates to theme 1: the deaths from these wars act of genocide changed the and acts of genocide changed the populations of the country.
Primary source 1. The source relates Taylor's ideologies of social Darwinism, nationalism, imperialism, and militarism in making Germany a global fascist force, and ultimately leading to World War II. The source is very credible because the source is a primary source written by Hitler himself. Primary source 2. This is a propaganda poster made in Britain. The artist is most likely biased towards Great Britain and may not have the citizens of the country's best interests. Primary source 3 is a letter on the atomic bomb and the resources needed. The letter has little or no bias, as the writer is a scientist speaking on the production of a dangerous weapon. And in conclusion, what leading factors led to the cause of both World War One and World War Two? The leading factors that primarily caused both World War One and World War Two were the ideologies of militarism, nationalism, and imperialism. What similar consequences do World War I and World War II share? Both wars had ended with many countries suffering a large amount of casualties, and both wars ended in victory for the Allied powers. How did nationalism and imperialism influence both World War I and World War II? Nationalism and imperialism were both the key motivators of both of the wars. Imperialism caused the conflict, while nationalism encouraged the continuation of the conflict.